Welcome back to the channel and welcome to today's video. As you probably see from the title card, today we're talking about the all-in-one granny square yarn that's available from Red Heart Yarns. Now in Australia it has got here, but only really just in the last couple of months, and the price point is a little bit high for people who've never used it before to just have a go. So I got a screenshot of what the yarn is and where you can get it from America, where it's originated from, and we'll put that on the screen. And then I found the cheapest place I could get it from in Australia, and I took a screenshot of that as well, and so that'll be on the screen. So as you can see, in Australia the cheapest I can get one ball of it is around $24, which it's not too bad because there's 250 grams in each of the balls, which gives you 14 granny squares. 14 granny squares can give you a reasonable cot blanket size. But the thing is that $24 is $24. And an exchange rate, that'd be about $8 in America. Well, I did work it out, but it's probably changed by now. But in Australia, we also have mill end bags. And they're actually called that, see? Mill end bags. So what this is it's a yarn that maybe not be available where we are, or it might be a more expensive yarn, but these are from the mill ends where they make it. And each of these bags has 400 grams in it, no matter what. So what that means is if the original yarn, this is from a mill end, but it's the right shape, the original yarn comes as a 250 gram ball. So it's not going to be each ball the right weight, but the whole bag is the right weight. So you may not get 14 out of the balls that you get, but it is that yarn. So generally in a mill end, maybe the balls aren't the right weight, or the colour is slightly off. There'll be a fault with it. So then they send it to the mill end company and they make up the 400 gram bags. And you can get these standard price, $10 a bag. So it's $10 for 400 grams. So, and if you've got a good eye, you can pick what yarn is in the bag. So I got this one, I got 2 packs, and this one is called Green Screen, and it is on the website. So that's the screenshots I've taken is of this actual colorway, and you make the granny squares. So the next thing most people have trouble with is they have problems with their tension with the granny square, because when you get the original one, it comes with a pattern on the back of the wrapper. If you follow that pattern, your tension may be out. So you need to play around with what you're doing and your tension and your hook size to make it work. So when I got mine, I did what was on the wrapper and figured out my tension's way too tight. So I worked out that I needed a 6mm. I needed no chains between the clusters, and I need 3 in the corners. And then I decided, what the heck am I going to do with it? I've only got 2 400 gram bags. So I decided I'm going to make a coat. And I'm going to make a peacock coat with this pattern that I worked out. And this is what I'm going to show you today. How to make this square with the all-in-one granny square. So we will get on to that. All right then, so let's get started with this. So this is the square I'm going to show you how to do. Now, I think it's called a corner start granny, but I'm calling it the peacock square because I've called the coat I'm going to make a peacock coat, because I want to put it like that so it looks like a peacock feather. At least to me it does, and anyway, that's all that matters. So to get started, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about the yarn. Now, this yarn is done in the tube style balls, and Red Heart is usually pretty good because it gives you an easy start. Usually on the wrapper it'll tell you which end to find the end in. And also the ones that you get from the shops with the proper wrappers on will have the right colour at the end. Now I've done this many already, just a few, and because my yarn is a mill end, it didn't start with that one. Oh yeah, hi. It didn't start with the right color. So the first ball of yarn I had to reel off until I got to the smallest color, which is the blue. And then for my second ball, which is this one, I had to reel off quite a lot more. But you know, I'm going to keep those because I will need some of this yarn to join the squares together. So that's fine. So once you've found that, the way I did this granny square is you start off with the chain 4, make your slip knot, and it's dark yarn, so it might be a little bit hard to see on the grey. I apologise. Put the glasses on, and we chain 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then go through under 2 loops, 1 loop at the back, and then I put the tail on the same side as where there's 1 loop, and pull it through both. And then we chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and just do the first DC. And what I found is most helpful with doing this, I now put that down and pull out all of that colour. So that's the red starting. We'll just move this out back a bit so it's not catching. So all of the blue is here, so I know how much I have left to finish the first round. And our first round is the same as every granny square. We're going to do a cluster of 3 double crochets and then 3 chains in the corner. So I'll just do that. But the other thing I've got to tell you, I usually work over my ends, especially for the middle, because I just do. And chain 3, 1, 2, and 3. Work over the thing, hold the end against the chain so you're catching it. There's no way the middle's going to come apart because we didn't use a magic circle, which means we don't have to weave and secure it at the end, which is nice. And then 1, 2, and 3. Now I'm coming up to halfway, so I'll see how much of this I have left. Yeah, looks all right. I'm also working with what I call loose hand tension. When I've got my yarn like this, you do your tension by how far apart you spread your fingers out. You wrap around the little one, I'll do it slower, wrap around the little one and then over that one. And then you spread your hands to get more yarn. So if I have loose hand tension, I'm basically keeping my fingers fairly much apart. Do you see the gaps? So it's quite loose within my hand. And I'm just really moving my little finger to let the yarn run more smoothly. So we do 1, 2, and 3. And you have a look, we've got that much left. We want to end up chaining, or at least some of the chain to be red. So we're on the last one, last cluster. So that's 1, 2, and 3. I apologize that this is dark blue. I really can't do anything about it. That's how the yarn's made. And I think we're pretty close to right. So that's 1, 2, and 3. And we slip stitch into the top of the first chain 3. And that changes us to the red. I did it. I did it right the first time. Yay me. A couple of times it's been close. If you look on my squares, it's been awful close. And I've got one there that the whole up chain is blue, but the first stitch is red. So that's cool. All right, so next thing I do, I always do the chain 3 and the first DC, just so the row is started and we know where we're going. So now put it down, pull out all of that colour, all of it, all the way to the next colour. And there it is. So we're going to go to yellow after that. You should be able to see this one quite a bit clearly. So we've got our chain 3, we've got our first DC. Now with this, get it the right way up, this way up. Yes. So we are working here. And we're going that way, up, and then back. We need the same amount of clusters because they use the same amount of yarn. So we do 2 rows of this and every one out. The first one is the only one where there's 1 row of colour. So we need 1 more double crochet here. And if you find that you're crocheting quite a bit tighter than you need, ignore your chain and put another one here and it will use up yarn for you. So the next thing we do, make sure I'm in the right place, is we do our corner cluster. Well, it's 2 clusters actually. So that's 1, 2, and 3. Chain 3, 2, 3. And then next one, 1, 2, and 3. And then the last one, which is 1, 2, and 3. So these are just normal double crochets. That's why I'm not slowing down, because it's just a double crochet. What's left of my tail is starting to annoy me, so I'm just going to snip that off. Goodbye. Right, that's better. Right, so we've done our first row. We look at what we've got left. We've got a decent amount left. So we chain up 3, turn over. And then we turn the whole thing over and we're working on the back. And we do the next row, which is the 3. And then the corner. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now let's just have a look. We've got that much left. We've got 2 clusters to do and a chain. It's going to be close. We will do it and we'll see how we go. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Right, so that's our last cluster. And we've got that much to chain up, which if we do this with a really loose hand, it's not actually chaining up, it's a double crochet. Do it with a really loose hand, we should be right. So that's the row finished. And then if we chain up 1, 2, 3, the last one's the right color. So I didn't have to pull it out. If you don't like this, where it's not all the yellow, just pull out back to the corner and do it with a loose hand, because we're so close. If you do it with a looser hand tension, you should be able to put that into the red. It doesn't bother me, so I'm going to keep going. So we work back into here. Oh, getting carried away. Put it down, pull the rest of the colour out. I find if I leave it in the ball of yarn, it puts too much tension on my work. If I have it just sitting on the table, the tension stays consistent. It's the weight of the yarn in the ball. The weight of the yarn in the ball, it puts tension on it. If that makes sense. It makes sense to me. So there's our join. And pick it up again. So I'm holding it fairly loosely. I can go looser, but I want to get enough of the row on so I can see whether I need to go looser or not. So I've got a fair bit of gaps between my fingers holding it down the bottom. It's just a repeat of the row below. This time we have an extra one in the middle. You see what I mean? We had 1 there, now we have 2. 1, 2, and 3. And 3. 1, 2, and 3. And like I said, this square and this yarn works for me with a number 6. And I'm using Clover Amour hooks. And this is the half corner, so we just do a normal cluster. 2 and 3. Put that out. Chain up 3. 1, 2, and 3. Turn everything over and go back. 1, 2, and 3. Now, it's possible with these squares they won't even need to be blocked. I may do because it's going to make an article of clothing, but if I was making a blanket, I most likely wouldn't block them because I'm doing the tension so loose, I don't think they would warp and twist. So you really got to look at your block and see if you can lay it flat on the ground easily, you don't need to block. 1, 2, and 3. Doing the big corner. I might just check how much yarn I have left in a second. Alright, so we have a look. So we've got 2 clusters left and one at the end, a double crochet. We might make it. It's once again going to be awful close. 1, 2, and 3. Right, we got that much to do a cluster. 1, 2, and 3. All right, now it's already gone to green, which means I've run out. So we're awful close. So I don't think I need to pull the lot out. I think I will just pull out to the corner and just make my tension just a smidge tighter. So tug that down, 2, 3. So I'm holding here so it's not going to pull too much yarn out. 1, 1 and 2. It's your pull throughs where you add the most yarn. So if you can hold where you pull through, you're not going to add too much yarn. 1 and 2. 1 and 2. 1, 2, and 3. And we go into the top of the chain and finish it. Right, so we have turned green. Now, I would prefer myself to have yellow into the green than green into yellow because I've mostly finished this, but I haven't started the green and I don't want to use it up too much. So once again, I'll pull back, but I'll only pull back to the other side of the corner because we are so close to being exactly right. We don't want to pull too much out. There's no point getting frustrated and yanking the lot out and starting again when you're so close. 1, 2, and 3. The other thing you can do is you can miss the chain in the corner if it's really so close and you don't want to keep pulling it out. Just miss the chain in the corner. Your next row will cover it. I think we're going to be right this time. And 3, 1, 2, and 3. And do our chain. Yeah, now we're right. And the last one becomes green. So that's changed colour in exactly the right spot. So 1, 2, and 3, turn it over. Do our first double crochet and then put it down and pull all the colour out. So we're on our second last colour. So of course the yarn is longer because we've got more clusters to do. Another one added to each side. Still, there we go. So there's the change. Bring it down a bit so you can see it. There's the change. And off we go. So I'm not going to count every single one. I'll only say something when I need to. I've gone back to the tension I was using before because at the moment I have plenty of yarn. I only change the tension when I'm trying to land in the right space or the right part of the yarn. So we've now got 3 clusters on each side, and still the corner cluster, of course. And I think I was wrong earlier. I said that the $23 goes to 7. It doesn't. It goes to 16. So yeah, bit of a difference. I apologise. 1, 2, 3, 7 is what's available in America. At least it was when I looked. I had them written down. I just got them mixed up. 2 and 3. So we've turned over and now going back the other way. 2 and 3. Remember, if you like the video, please like, share and subscribe. If you share, then more people might like, share and subscribe, and that'll help the channel grow. It would be nice if you could. That would be lovely. 1, 2 and 3. And I'll put this video up as a part 1 because I will come back when I've done my squares and show you how I put my coat together, because that's always fun. I want to make a coat. I have no pattern, so we'll just wing it. Okay, coming towards the end. Just have a quick look. So we've got that much left, and we've got two clusters and a single DC to get through. 3. I'm just tightening my tension a little bit. Like I said, I don't mind if the green goes into the white, if the under row goes into the upper row, but I don't want it going the other way. And then my last one. Let's see how close this is. Right, so there's a bit of white down here. I think I might leave that because I've noticed on my other ones I have, let's bring them into frame, quite a decent bit of white left. So I won't worry too much about the white on this. So we'll just go 1, 2 and 3. This is our last colour, but I'll still do it the same way. Do our first chain in our first double crochet and then pull out all of this colour. And there's quite a lot of this colour. Here we go. Now what I do is I cut right on this change because I'm not doing join as you go, and I also found out I had quite a lot of the blue left, and I go over the tail when I start the next one, so I can cut that off. That is all my white being pulled out, and now we do our last 2 rows. And with this one you can be a little bit more relaxed because for this pattern at least I have more than enough white, so I can just do my standard tension, and we really only play around with the last 1 or 2 clusters because usually it's very close to being perfect. Not perfect, but enough. And we're not going to bleed into another colour because we've already cut it off. So 2 and 3, 1, 2 and 3. Right, turn this way. Keep pulling out the extra. So sometimes when you're using a loose hand tension, your yarn actually bunches up under your hand. That's just the way it is. As long as you keep an eye on it and keep threading your hand out, you should be right. Right, so that's that row. Right, we're on the last row. And yes, I realise I say right a lot. Not because I am, but because I want to be. Chain up 3 and off we go. Dun, 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 dun. I usually try and make the whole granny square every time I make one, only because if you put it down, it'll take you a little bit to get your tension right. So if you can make the whole square when you sit down, that's a benefit for you. You don't have to keep adjusting and adjusting for it to settle into the groove. Alright, on the corner, I might just do this and then the chain and just have a look. 1, 2, 3. So we got a fair bit there, and we've got to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clusters. I may tighten up a little bit just for these last 5, just to make sure that I'm going to make it. 2 and 3. So just to tighten up, all I'm doing is I'm holding my hand closer together. That's all. Just about done. It's going to be close. As long as I got enough to weave in, that'll be good. Come on, you can do it. Jeez, it's really going to be close. 2. I'm not going to make it. Nope. Right, so I don't have enough for that, so I will come back to the beginning of this row, because if you remember when I got to here, I tightened up for the end of the row and it wasn't quite enough, but we were only 1 double crochet short, so I don't think I need to pull the whole lot out. So I'll just go back to there, 1, 2, 3, and do this whole row just a little bit tighter. Oop, let's split it. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. Stop counting. I wonder why they called it green screen. Maybe that green is the colour of a green screen. I wouldn't know, I don't have one. You might be right. If you know, say it in the comments. Is this the actual colour of a green screen? It might be. Yeah, did I do that as a double crochet or did I do it as a half double? I think I did it as a half double. 1, 2, and 3. 1, oh, that one's a bit loose. A bit loose. A little bit tighter than that. You've got to get to the end with enough to throw it to weave in. What? I think we're going to be right this time. This is our last one. I always do 2 chains at the end, pull through and tighten, and then do my nail so it goes down to the end. And there we are, all done. And like I said, it lays out fairly flat, so you don't, I probably wouldn't be blocking this, but if I have to use a different yarn to do some of like the ribbing or edges, I may block it so that the 2 yarns match together. Anyway, so that's all done. I hope that was helpful for a different type of granny square. I'm going to call this the Peacock one, like I said, because I'm going to have them that way up. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you later.